Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Enjoy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Anthony.
Yesterday, we introduced the tooth fairy, the idea that there is this little spirit that helps children get over a difficult life experience because it's painful and it's scary, at least at first. So around the world, we looked at Scandinavia and America yesterday. We found out that their two traditions are similar in that children can get some money for lost teeth. And this is one way to encourage them to take care of the health of their teeth and their mouth in general.
没错，我们昨天简单的介绍一下牙仙的由来嘛，然后开始的时候是我们先提到说美国的这个孩童啊，很多时候在掉牙的时候会很惊慌嘛，所以说美国的父母呢会告诉他牙仙的故事。那最开始的时候是在那个北欧的文化里面有提到说，很多战士会带着这个乳牙，然后把它变成项链来保护自己当护身符。然后到后来的话，有了这个牙仙的故事，在1908年的时候，有了牙仙的这个故事出现在报纸上面之后呢，很多的父母就按照这样的这个建议去告诉孩子们，你要好好保护自己的牙齿，然后孩子们都很听话。那我们今天呢要去介绍其他文化对于换牙这件事，他们到底是怎么样庆祝的哦。
Legends of the Tooth Fairy. Around the world, different cultures have their own ways of observing the loss of children's teeth. Many of these traditions are associated with a mouse instead of a fairy. In France, La Petite Souris is a tiny mouse that collects children's lost baby teeth in exchange for small gifts. In Spain and Latin America, the mouse is called El Ratoncito Perez. The character became famous in 1894 when a story about the mouse was written for the young king of Spain, who had just lost his first tooth. Similar to La Petite Souris, El Ratoncito Perez also takes the tooth that children place under their pillow and leaves a small gift in place of the tooth. In Japan, people focus on the direction in which the tooth grows. If you lose a lower tooth, you should throw it into the air or onto the roof. If you lose an upper tooth, you should throw it down to the ground. This is supposed to help the new tooth grow straight. In Mongolia, a lost tooth should be wrapped in meat and fed to a dog because they hope the child's teeth can be as strong as the dog's. These various traditions highlight the universal importance of healthy teeth and celebrate this important period in a child's life.
Okay, let's get started on day 2 of Legends of the Tooth Fairy. Now remember, fairy is a kind of spirit, S-P-I-R-I-T. S-P-I-R-I-T. In fact, there are many more names, but fairy and spirit are very common. And this idea of the tooth fairy is surprisingly common around the world. And that's how we start today's lesson. Around the world, different cultures have their own ways of observing the loss of children's teeth. So there is no universal story that everybody uses throughout the world, even though every child in the world will lose its teeth.
没错，所以在这里的话，世界各国的文化里面可能都有他们自己的方式来告诉小朋友如何去换牙或告诉你说，这个换牙的情况是什么情况。所以我们看一下第一段第一句话说 ，Around the world， 在世界各地呢 ，different cultures have their own ways of observing the loss of children's teeth. 这个地方 observing 的话有点像是 celebrating 的意思。在这里的话，它这边 observe 你看到字典上第一个意思绝对都是仔细的观察。但如果说今天提到跟节庆跟一些习俗有关的时候，你也有机会看到 observe 这个字来表达是 celebrate， 去庆祝或者是去过某个节庆。在这里的话，它就是庆祝儿童掉牙的方式，不同的文化呢有不同的方式哦。
Okay, let's get busy here. Many of these traditions are associated with a mouse instead of a fairy. As I just finished saying, fairy and spirit are similar, but mouse is not. Yet, in some cultures, this idea of losing teeth and somehow it's related to mice. Remember, the plural of mouse is M-I-C-E, mice. That's still a tradition, but it's quite different.
没错，所以在这里的话，除了牙仙之外，我们来看到这句话 ：Many of these traditions， 这些换牙相关的一些传统呢 ，are associated with 与什么东西有关呢 ？With a mouse， 好，居然是跟小老鼠有关 ，instead of a fairy， 而不是牙仙这样的角色。老师刚刚特别叮咛我们一下，这个 mouse， 好，这个单数的老鼠，一旦变成很多老鼠的时候，不是只加 s， 它变成另外一个字叫做 mice。M-I-C-E 啊，这个地方要特别小心。
Okay, that's a good introduction. We're going to take a break. Okay, let's get busy. We're going to Europe, and in France, La Petite Souris is a tiny mouse that collects children's lost baby teeth in exchange for small gifts. Oh, well, that sounds pretty good. Instead of money, small children who lose their teeth in France will get little gifts, presents, in exchange for the teeth. And what happens, of course, is when the baby or the child is sleeping, the parents may pull the tooth, or maybe it has already come out, and that is traditionally put under the pillow, which is great for the parents because then children can't feel or see the exchange of the tooth for a present.
没错，所以在这里的话，我们就带大家去欧洲，看看欧洲的小朋友到底会碰到什么情况啊？我们先带大家去看到法国 in France 这句话的第一句，好，这一段第一句话就说，在法国呢 ，La petite souris， 好，这个就是法文的小老鼠 ，It's a tiny mouse that collects children's lost baby teeth。好，他们这个小老鼠呢，它会去收集小朋友掉下来的乳牙 ，in exchange for small gifts。好，它会用这种方式去换取这个小礼物。所以说，小朋友一旦掉牙之后呢，他就会收到一个来自小老鼠的小礼物，然后牙齿就被换走了。
In Spain, not France, but in Spain and Latin America, and remember, Latin America, most people speak Spanish as their first language. Except for big Brazil, which speaks Portuguese, which is right next door to Spain. The two languages are similar, but certainly not the same. In Spain and Latin America, the mouse is called El Ratoncito Pérez. You can see the English word rat, R-A-T, in ratoncito. L is the, so it's the little rat, which would be a mouse, but Pérez, I don't know what that means.
OK， 所以我们来看一下下一句话。如果我们今天从法国好，赶快到这个西班牙 in Spain and Latin America， 或是到拉丁美洲的话呢 ，the mouse 就是这个小老鼠呢 is called， 它名字叫做 El Ratoncito Pérez， 好，就是这个名字。好，在这里的话，那个ratoncito 这个地方你会看到 R-A-T， 就是老师刚刚所讲的 rat， 就是那种大老鼠，它这个字根就在这边哦。
The character became famous in 1894 when a story about the mouse was written for the young king of Spain who had just lost his first tooth. So this goes back to almost the same time as the American experience of creating the tooth fairy. But in a little bit earlier, 1894, 10 years earlier only, then the story about what in America was the mouse was written for the young king of Spain. Well, if he just lost teeth, that's a pretty young king. I would think he'd be a prince, but maybe his father died, and this has happened in history, where the king or emperor of some countries is just a baby, a small child. It does happen. Anyway, when you lose your first tooth, It's as painful for a Chinese or Spanish or American child as anywhere else. And parents came up with the idea of helping them get over this rite of passage.
Rite of passage 我们在 Day 1的时候提过嘛，在人生当中重要的历程。如果说今天你有一个好的正面的解读跟经验，你就可以轻松的去享受这个过程。所以在这边他提到说啦，他说 the character 这个角色，这个小老鼠在西班牙这个角色呢 became famous in 1894 1894年。我记得在昨天的时候提到是1908年的时候，在美国出现了这个 The Tooth Fairy， 那大概是比这个早了大概14年左右啊。1894年的时候呢，就出现了这个小老鼠的角色，在西班牙还有在其他拉丁美洲的国家。When a story about the mouse was written for the young king of Spain， 所以在这里的话，因为这个继位的新王是非常非常年轻的。老师刚刚提到说，有的时候在欧洲就会碰到这种情况，这个王呢可能很早就走了，然后继位的新王可能大概是那种小朋友，6岁7岁的那种小朋友，就变成一国之君啊，这样的感觉哦。所以呢，当初的时候是因为西班牙一个最小的这个王，然后呢 ，who had just lost his first tooth， 他刚开始换牙的时候，刚好有写了一个可爱的这种故事，是这个跟小老鼠去帮你把牙齿换成礼物有关的故事。也因为这样，1894年的时候就出现了这样的角色。
Similar to La Petite Souris, El Ratoncito Pérez also takes the tooth that children place under their pillow and leaves a small gift instead of the tooth. So we can think about exchange here. They give a small gift and they take the small tooth. And the child, when they hear this story, will feel a little better, except for the pain of the tooth. That tooth pain goes away pretty quickly, but the gift will last a long time.
没错哈，痛苦会过去，礼物会留下，这样的感觉哦。所以在这边的话，你看到这句话说 ，similar to la petite souris， 好，在法国的这个小老鼠跟它很相似的。那我们在这个西班牙和拉丁美洲呢，你会看到 El Ratoncito Pérez， 好，这个角色 also takes the tooth that children place under their pillow， 他也会呢从小朋友这个枕头放在枕头底下这个牙齿呢，把它拿走了之后 ，and leaves a small gift in place of the tooth。In place of 的意思就是取代，有的时候你会看到这个字，好 ，replace 这个字就是 place 前面加 re 就变成一个动词 replace。那这边的话用 in place of 介词的片语来表达也可以。在同一段里面，我们刚刚看到有一个 in exchange for 是交换嘛。在这里的话，就是也是差不多是交换的概念，把 A 拿走换成 B， 好，这个 B 的话呢，就是这个 a small gift 给小朋友这样子。
Okay, so far we have been in the United States and today in Spain and in France, and not tomorrow. After the break, we're going to Japan. Okay, the first sentence of our last paragraph. In Japan, people focus on the direction in which the tooth grows. Well, I never thought of that before, but the Japanese don't focus on, they don't emphasize the size of the tooth or how many there are, but the direction in which the tooth grows. How do they figure that out?
可是我们好像小时候也会被这样教导，就变成是说，如果是上排牙齿的话，你要往下丢；如果是下排牙齿的话，你要往上丢。这样子的话可以确定它的生长方向。很好玩吧
？If you lose a lower tooth, low, high, so a bottom tooth or lower tooth, you should throw it into the air or onto the roof of your house. Throw it into the air. It doesn't say if you should catch it or not. We don't know. But if you throw it on the roof, unless it rolls down the roof and on back to you or on the sidewalk, it should stay up there.
没错。所以这里的话呢，它这句话就说 ，If you lose lose a lower tooth， 好，如果你是下排牙齿掉了的时候 ，you should throw it into the air， 往天空丢。Or onto the roof 的话就是我们说的屋顶嘛。那我这个小时候就会想说，那丢了之后，这个地心引力，那你会牙齿会长成这样，会长成这样子，这样出来的这种感觉哦，会变成一个像是很像瀑布一样那种感觉。但是小时候的话，我妈就告诉我说，你不要想那么多，你往上丢就对了。我有想过这件事情，真的，
Okay, if you lose an upper tooth on top.You should throw it down to the ground. The same kind of logic.
没错，在这里的话就说了，如果你掉的是上排牙齿的话，它这边的那个就讲到 upper tooth， 好 ，lower upper， 对不对？哦 ，if you lose an upper tooth， 掉的是上排牙齿 ，you should throw it down to the ground， 就是往地下丢就对了。这样的话，它就顺着你这个丢的方向，让它好好的顺利生长。
This is supposed to help the new tooth grow straight. Now, this actually refers to both of throwing it on the roof up or down on the ground. This action, both actions actually, but this tradition is supposed to help the new tooth grow straight so it doesn't grow out or back into your mouth, but that never happened. So.It sounds good, and they do it, and they have fun doing it.
没错，所以我在丢的时候都很小心，要顺的丢，不要乱丢哈，方向要正确这样。所以这句话他就提到说，这是要帮助这个新的牙齿能够长得直直的，然后不要长歪。
Okay, we're going to another Asian country now. In Mongolia, a lost tooth should be wrapped in meat and fed to a dog.Because they hope the child's teeth can be as strong as the dog's. Well, there's a logic there. So if my son loses a tooth, I'll put it in the middle of like hamburger meat and then feed it to a dog. Dogs have very strong teeth and very clean teeth as well. So that is the connection in their culture.
所以在蒙古呢，还有另外一种方式哦，他就告诉你说 ，In Mongolia, a lost tooth， 一个乳牙一旦换下来之后呢 ，should be wrapped in meat， 好，居然要拿来包在那个肉里面 ，and fed to a dog， 好，拿来去喂狗吃，让狗吃下这颗牙齿。Why? Because they hope the child's teeth， 他们希望说这个小朋友新长出来的牙齿呢 ，can be as strong as the dog's。这个 dogs 就是 dog's teeth， 好，狗的牙齿都非常非常的这个坚硬哦，非常非常长得很好。那希望狗吃了这个小朋友的牙齿之后呢，好，这个小朋友的牙齿也可以像狗的牙齿一样这么样的健康。
I wonder if in Mongolia the McDonald's have
Oh no!
You can buy a special kind of hamburger to put your tooth in and feed.To a dog.
哦，搞不好这是一个商机哦，说不定以后我们在蒙古开那个麦当劳的话，就可以特别定制那种有牙齿的，然后可以拿来喂狗的那种汉堡排。
Okay, we're going to finish with this sentence. These various traditions highlight the universal importance of healthy teeth and celebrate this important period in a child's life.Various. There are different kinds of something. They may or may not be related, but they are different. And when we talk about one subject, there might be a variety of ways to look at it. Now remember, various is the adjective of variety, V-A-R-I-E-T-Y. V-A-R-I-E-T-Y.
所以提到多元的、有各式各样不同种类的这样的概念的时候呢，有两个字你必须要想到。第一个字呢，就是我们在这句话里面所看到的 various。好 ，various 的话，它是从 vary 这种多样，好，这个动词延伸出来的一个形容词 various。所以这边他提到说 these various traditions， 指的就是各式各样不同的传统。老师刚刚我们还补充了另外一个重要的字词呢，也是跟这个 various 同一个家族的，叫做 variety。好，老师刚刚有拼过它的拼法了。那如果你要表达说各式各样的，除了用 various 之外，还可以用 a variety of a variety of tradition 就是 various tradition 的意思哦。所以他这边提到说 these various traditions 像这些各式各样不同的传统呢 highlight 这个字的意思就是去强调，让有点像是那种很大的探照灯，咚，让大家看到这个东西。highlight the universal importance of healthy teeth and celebrate this important period in a child's life， 就是能够看到说，哦，全世界各地，不管是哪个国家，他们都会很重视小朋友换牙这个重要的 rite of passage。然后呢，怎么样 ？And celebrate this important period in a child's life， 能够好好的去庆祝，好，小朋友又长大了一点点，好，有经过这个重要的时刻。
By the way, another word for highlight would be emphasize. E-M-P-H-A-S-I-Z-E. E-M-P-H-A-S-I-Z-E. Emphasize.
Emphasize 常常会听到 emphasize the importance of something， 就是强调什么东西的重要性。很多时候在翻译的时候，你就有机会用到强调这个字，你可以用 highlight， 或者是老师刚刚介绍的这个字 emphasize。
Okay, this is the final paragraph that we are looking at. We started yesterday and we've been going around the world to a number of countries. And since all children lose teeth, we all do as small children. Some cultures have thought of ways to make it more useful or interesting or profitable. They can earn money from it. So why not? The rite of passage doesn't have to be bloody and painful only. You might be able to get something from it. And this only goes to show how creative different cultures are dealing with the same thing.
没错，所以可以看得出来说，各个不同文化在面对孩子换牙，他会流血，怎么样把它转换成一个正向的一个经验，各自都展现了各自的创意。我觉得这一点真的是太棒了。
Okay, that's it for yesterday and today's lessons. We hope you enjoyed them and learned something from them. I know I did. I had no idea about some of these tooth stories. Anyway, join us whenever you have time. We enjoy being with you. Until the next time,
bye-bye.